Have you ever met someone who constantly talks about big dreams? They talk about massive success, making life-changing money, building a huge business, or completely transforming their entire life. They imagine it with crystal clear precision. They genuinely believe they are capable of achieving it. But months pass. Then years pass. And somehow, absolutely nothing actually changes. Their life looks exactly the same today as it did 5 years ago, despite all the grand plans. Maybe you are that person. It is one of the most frustrating experiences in the human condition. You know you have the potential. You know you are smart enough. You have the vision. So why are you physically unable to just sit down and do the work? Society will quickly label this as laziness. People will tell you that you just lack discipline, or that you simply do not want it badly enough. But modern psychology tells a completely different story. It is rarely about laziness. In fact, people who dream big but take no action are often experiencing intense psychological friction. There are invisible biological and psychological forces working against them behind the scenes. Today, we are going to unpack the 6 deeply hidden psychological reasons why people who dream big do absolutely nothing. By the end of this, you will understand exactly how your own brain has been tricking you into staying stuck, and more importantly, the exact mechanisms you need to break this cycle once and for all. Reason number 1. The trap of phantom progress. The first and most dangerous trap is that your brain literally confuses thinking with actual progress. In psychology, this phenomenon reveals a fascinating flaw in our neurochemistry. When you imagine yourself succeeding, when you vividly visualize that future life, your brain does not actually know the difference between reality and imagination. As you sit on your couch designing your future empire in your head, your brain gets flooded with dopamine. It releases a rush of chemical satisfaction, almost exactly like the feeling you would get if you had actually achieved the goal. This is why talking about your goals to your friends feels so incredibly good. It is why creating a perfectly color-coded vision board makes you feel so accomplished. But here is the dark side of that dopamine release. It kills your biological drive. By giving you the chemical reward of success before you have even lifted a single finger, your brain massively reduces the urgency to take action. Why would you go through the immense pain, stress, and discomfort of actually building the business, when your brain has already given you the ultimate reward just for thinking about it? You become a dopamine addict, but you are addicted to the fantasy. To fix this, you have to adopt a strict code of silence. Stop telling people your grand plans. Stop obsessing over the vision board. Starve your brain of that unearned dopamine. Force your brain to realize that the only way it gets the satisfaction of success is by actually crossing the finish line in the real world. Reason number 2. The hidden fear of failure. The second reason people dream big but do nothing is that a massive fear of failure is hiding perfectly disguised underneath their motivation. On the surface, these people do not lack ambition. They have huge, monumental ambitions. But deep down, they are absolutely terrified of what happens if they actually try with all their heart and still fail. Think about it. Right now, as long as your dream stays safely inside your head, it is absolutely perfect. It is flawless. No one can criticize it. The market cannot reject it. You cannot be embarrassed by it. By staying in the planning phase forever, you successfully protect your ego. You get to walk around with the identity of a future millionaire or an undiscovered genius. But the exact moment you launch that project, the moment you put your art or your business out into the world, you kill the perfect fantasy. You enter the real world, where things are messy, and where people might look at you and tell you that your idea is actually terrible. Psychologists call this protecting your self-image. People will subconsciously sabotage themselves and do absolutely nothing, just to maintain the illusion that they are special. They would rather be the person who could have been great if they just tried, instead of risking becoming the person who tried their absolute best and simply was not good enough. You have to realize that this brand of perfectionism is just cowardice wearing a nice suit. You have to be willing to destroy the perfect dream in your head to build an imperfect reality. Accept that your first attempt will be garbage. Your first video will be embarrassing. Your first business will probably fail. Embrace the failure as data, not as a permanent reflection of your self-worth. Reason number 3. The illusion of the right moment. The third reason you are stuck is because you are waiting for a moment that simply does not exist. You are waiting to feel ready. Millions of people wake up every single day and tell themselves, "I will start my business when I have more money saved up," or "I will go to the gym when I have a less stressful week at work," or "I will sit down and write that book when I finally feel inspired." We have been heavily conditioned to believe that motivation is a prerequisite to action. We think that first we must feel a spark of inspiration, and then that feeling will naturally push us to act. But behavioral psychology proves that this is entirely backward. Readiness is not a feeling that comes before action. Readiness is a byproduct of action. Motivation follows behavior, it does not lead it. When you wait to feel like doing something hard, you will wait until you die. Your brain is biologically wired for survival, which means it is wired to conserve energy at all costs. It will never, ever send you a magical signal saying, "Hey, let us go do something incredibly difficult and stressful right now." If you want to break this curse, you must aggressively separate your actions from your emotions. You have to operate like a machine. You do not wait to feel like brushing your teeth in the morning, you just do it. Success requires the exact same detachment. The perfect conditions will never arrive. The stars will never perfectly align. You have to start before you are ready. You have to start when you are tired. You have to start when you are terrified. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates motivation. Reason number 4, mental exhaustion from overthinking. Reason number 4 is one of the most common silent killers of potential. Overthinking creates severe mental exhaustion. People who dream big tend to be highly analytical. They are smart, but they use their intelligence as a weapon against themselves. When they get an idea, they do not just take the first logical step. Instead, they try to play out every single scenario in their head like an endless game of chess. They research for hundreds of hours. They think deeply about every possible outcome, every potential pitfall, every legal tax implication of a business that has not even made a single dollar yet. By the time they have finished analyzing the situation, their mental battery is completely drained. Decision fatigue has permanently set in. The sheer volume of cognitive effort required just to think about the project has left them physically and emotionally exhausted. So when it is finally time to sit down and do the actual, simple work, they feel deeply tired. And so, they do nothing. They confuse motion with action. Researching camera gear for 3 weeks is motion. Recording a video on your smartphone right now is action. Reading 6 books on real estate investing is motion. Making a lowball offer on a property is action. To escape this trap, you must embrace the concept of minimum viable execution. Give yourself a strict, unbreakable time limit for planning. If you have an idea, you are only allowed 24 hours to research it before you must take one physical, irreversible action toward it. Stop trying to predict step 50. You do not need to know step 50. You only need to know step 1. And you only figure out step 2 after step 1 is fully complete. Reason number 5, identity misalignment. The 5th reason is arguably the deepest psychological barrier of them all. Your internal identity is fundamentally out of alignment with your external goals. In psychology, there is a concept known as cognitive dissonance. Your brain absolutely hates it when your actions do not match your internal beliefs about who you are. Humans have a profound biological need to stay consistent with their deeply held self-image. This operates exactly like a thermostat in a house. If the thermostat is set to 70 degrees and the room heats up to 80 degrees, the air conditioning turns on to pull the temperature back down to the baseline. Your self-image works the exact same way. If you consciously want to build a disciplined, successful, wealthy life, but your subconscious internal identity believes, "I am a procrastinator," or "I always quit things halfway," or "I am just not a morning person," your brain will violently sabotage you. Every time you start making progress, your internal thermostat notices that you are acting out of character. You are acting like a winner, but deep down, you see yourself as a loser. So your brain triggers self-sabotaging behaviors. You oversleep. You binge watch a show. You pick a pointless fight with your partner. It does this just to bring you back down to your baseline identity. Taking action requires becoming someone entirely different. You cannot achieve a new life with your old identity. To fix this, you must stop focusing on the massive end goal and start focusing on gathering microproofs. Your identity is just a collection of historical evidence. If you want to view yourself as a disciplined person, you need undeniable proof. You do not need to work out for 3 hours. You just need to do 10 push-ups every single morning, without fail. That tiny, unbreakable promise to yourself starts to permanently shift the internal thermostat. You stop being the person who talks, and you slowly rebuild your identity into the person who executes. Reason number 6, addicted to potential, allergic to effort. Finally, reason number 6, they are hopelessly addicted to the concept of potential, but they are completely allergic to effort. In our modern culture, we are aggressively obsessed with the highlight reel. We see the billion-dollar companies, the massive stadium tours, the incredible physical transformations. Talking about big dreams feels incredibly exciting. It gives you a temporary, powerful identity. You get to be the visionary. You get to live in the glorious, cinematic future. But real progress is not cinematic. Real progress is not a high-speed montage with cool background music. Real progress is incredibly, agonizingly boring. It is highly repetitive. It is lonely. It is sitting in a quiet room, staring at a glowing screen for 10 hours straight. It is making 100 cold calls and getting rejected 99 times. It is eating the exact same bland meal every single day. It is slow, tedious, and highly uncomfortable. People who dream big but do nothing are completely in love with the finish line, but they absolutely despise the race. When they finally sit down to do the actual work, and they realize it is not glamorous, the excitement fades instantly. They think, this should not be this boring, I must be doing the wrong thing. So they quit, and they pivot to a new, shiny idea, a new dream that gives them that exciting feeling all over again. They become serial dreamers, endlessly jumping from one exciting idea to the next, fleeing the exact moment the actual boring work begins. To conquer this, you have to fundamentally change your psychological relationship with boredom. You must fall in love with the agonizing, slow process of daily execution. Stop chasing the fleeting emotion of excitement. Accept that building something genuinely great is mostly a quiet, unglamorous grind. The people who win in life are not the ones who never get bored. They are the ones who feel the exact same intense boredom as you do, but they sit in the chair and do the work anyway. The ultimate takeaway: having big dreams is not a rare trait. Anyone can close their eyes and imagine a better life. Dreaming is completely free. It requires absolutely 0 calories and 0 courage. The world is heavily overpopulated with visionaries, idea guys, and big dreamers. What is exceedingly rare is the ability to actually bridge the gap between the mind and the real world. Turning those beautiful dreams into physical reality is brutal. And the true difference between the people who actually change their lives and the ones who just talk about it until the day they die is not talent. It is not luck, and it is certainly not that they had better ideas. The difference is the profound ability to take action, even when your mind is screaming at you to stop. It is the ability to execute when you feel terrified of failure. It is the ability to move forward when your motivation is completely, utterly gone. It is the discipline to sit in a quiet room and do the boring, repetitive work while everyone else is out chasing cheap thrills. You have spent enough time in your own head. The plans are made. The dreams are clear. Now, it is time to kill the fantasy and build the reality. Stop negotiating with your own brain. Stop waiting to feel ready. Your future self is begging you to finally start. Close the gap. Take the first step right now.